Yo, what is up, guys? Cool Beham 412 here. Now, anyways, today is already part two of the live stream that I told you guys. This is still a 9/11 weekend, and everyone knows that. I already pointed out last night. Actually, I already pointed out yesterday that I was 5 years old when this happened. But my grandma kept watching the news during that time, during 9/11, and I was around 5 years old when that happened. But anyways, this is still a part of QNA. And I gotta say though, I just can't wait to answer your guys' questions because if anyone's got any questions for me, feel free to go ahead and leave it on the chat, and we'll get started. So right now though, I also want to leave out an update that basically I am right now still taking a. Hey, what's up, GGP? Welcome to the chat. And oh boy, Chimera Z28. Oh hey, glad you can make it, guys. All right. As far though, like I said earlier, this is a Q&A. If anyone has any questions for me, feel free to leave it for me on the chat. So basically, I just can't wait to answer your guys' questions because something tells me though, after yesterday's Q&A, I think it went pretty good. But this is still part of 9/11 weekend, so this is the final part of the Q&A, and I thought maybe end it off with a bang. So, anyways, oh really? There's like a pizza party in here, but thanks for that pizza party. But anyways, does anyone have any questions for me? Let's just pray and hope there are no crickets. Uh-oh. Now, Chimera, don't even take it personal. It's nothing personal. But basically, I didn't know you were in the film to even begin with, and and oh boy, Mickey Mouse just joined us. Hello, Mickey. Now then, Chimera, it's nothing personal. It's just there was nowhere in the script you were even in it, man. Dang. There was no way that Chimera Z28 was going to be in the script. But I'm not spoiling anything, so no spoilers of what's going to happen in Star Wars Redeem of the Force coming on December 24th on Christmas. So, anyways, does anyone have any questions for me? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's a very good question. I am 25 years old, as I pointed out yesterday. During the whole 9/11 deal, I was around 5 years old when that happened. And well, that's a good question there, GGP. Thanks for that. As I was saying, though, as I pointed out yesterday on part one, I'm 25 years old. It all started when I was around 5 years old when 9/11 took place, and I am right now 25 years old. And so basically, that's my age, and that's how old I am. So basically, does anyone have any more questions? Because basically, well, I already said I am 25 years old, so that question don't count. So, does anyone have any questions? Oh boy, oh boy, here we go again. Let's just pray and hope that there are no crickets. And I may have spoken too soon. Oh, crickets. How wonderful. Now then. Still, there's no questions. But, well, I'm waiting. I think I may get to the point. But basically, knowing that with a lot going on with Star Wars Redeem of the Force coming out on December 24th, something tells me that for next year on the channel on 412 Films, something tells me though that something new is coming to the channel and something amazing. But I don't want to spoil it, but I think you guys are going to love what you see when the time comes. But anyways, though, does anyone still have any questions for me? Oh boy. Here we go again. And yet the crickets keep randomly popping up. Now that's a good idea there, GGP. I think we could see that. But that would be awesome to see. If you guys want to see that, let GGP and I know down in the chat. Well, those are some very good questions there. Thank you. Well, the time where I'm at right now is 10:39. So, like I said, I live in Vegas, and that's a very good question there. My favorite wrestler is on the list of top wrestlers that are my favorites. I got so many of them, but my number one favorite, as always, would be Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of the all-time greats in the history of this business. But out of the ordinary, Stone Cold Steve Austin was one of my all-time favorites, and he still is till this very day. But the man's a legend. All the beer trucks, beer bashes, but however, all the funny moments he had, even driving a Zamboni into the arena. Expect the unexpected when it comes to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he's already one of the top legends of all time, so yep, Stone Cold Steve Austin's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And of course, John Cena. John Cena told me one thing, and that is to never give up. It must be, as far as I know. But anyways, does anyone have any questions for me? Well, I would feel kind of how I'll feel about it is basically it'd be like something in between, but I'd feel kind of other ways around, but I just don't know how I feel about that. But that's a very good question. The inner circle. If the inner circle should be a part of the GWE, that would be a very good idea there, GHP. But however, that debut will eventually come, but for everyone that doesn't know, we got a lot of things planned out for GWE. But I don't want to spoil anything. But so, if anybody wants to see the inner circle as a part of the GWE roster, give me and GGP one big heck yeah. Boy. More crickets. Oh. Now that's a very good question. My favorite meal would be either. That's a very good question. My favorite meal would be a steak, a bacon wrapped steak with a pair of mashed potatoes with a little bacon on it, and of course corn on the cob. But that's usually my favorite kind of meal, either a steak or mashed potatoes and corn. It was usually my type of favorite meal these days, but expect the unexpected. And yes, I have to agree with you there. Ultimate Warrior is the best of all time, but no matter what Ultimate Warrior did, he basically made the wrestling business what it is today. And so basically, well, yes, pizza is considered one of my all time favorites because I always eat a gluten free pepperoni pizza because, man, I just can't get over the taste. But it's really good, though. Oh, don't you dare bring him up. I mean, Chimera Z28. I've already beaten him once, and GTP's already beaten him one too many times now. And we know in the next GWE episode, Chimera Z28 versus GTP one last time. Plus, he tried to hit my lowrider one time. How can I forget about that? But, anyways, for what I do know, is that for GGP's productions, along with 412 Films, we got something planned out for the channel, but expect the unexpected here. And oh yeah, you're right about that, GGP. It will be 6-0. Expect the unexpected when it comes. One last time. Or 7-0. Yeah, I mean, basically, Z28 has been doing a lot on the GW roster, but sneaking up on the former world champion Brandon Dynamite and beating him in the process, winning the title, was unfair, to be honest. It wasn't a fair, straight-up match, in my opinion. But hitting my lowrider, man, that took things too far. But anyways, though, does anyone have any questions? And oh boy, more and more crickets. Well, thank you. I mean, it's always fun being a part of a live stream. I mean, I just love answering everyone's questions because it's always a good time because it's just part of the fun, you know? I just love answering everyone's questions. It's just without you guys, there'd be no 412 films, but basically, it was a lot of fun. Well, that's a very good question. Chimera Z28 is always cheating, but intentionally, we're not. But basically, Chimera is always a cheater. That's the way I seen him won the world title last I checked. What is your inspiration daily and why? Oh, that's a very good question. My daily inspiration at times will basically either it would be like trying to do what I can for today, but my inspiration is basically where where in wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena gave me inspiration to never give up, do what you can, and work hard where you can be at today. But basically, it is what it is. But and the answer why is because ever since then, when I was in school, I mean, I've been through a lot in my time, but at first I wanted to give up, but now and then I'm not giving up. After watching Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena at the time, and I've never given up in my life ever since. But now and then, it just felt like a dream come true to be where I'm at today, and of course, meeting the legends. And speaking of legends, today is the CAC, the Cauliflower Alley Club. And something tells me, though, that today is going to be amazing. Oh, thank you. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. Now and then, on the other hand, what I got planned for the channel is that something big is going to be happening, but I guess you guys are going to have to wait and see until I make the trailer because something amazing is happening. I think you guys would be very surprised at, Yeah, tell me about it though. I mean, DX is like one happy family in GWE. And speaking of family, I forgot to mention though that sooner or later you might see my family come to the GWE roster, which I think is going to be amazing. But with three grandfathers, who knows what could happen? Oh, that really means a lot to me. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I was really hoping for that same thing. And one like equals one prayer that me and my good friend GGP makes it all the way to 1 million subscribers on our channels because basically it'd be a real honor to be at 1 million subscribers someday because it'd be like a dream come true. Because if that were to happen, I mean, who knows what could happen for the channels? It'd be like a one big dream come true. But now then, on the other hand, is that oh, that's a very good question. My favorite movies. I mean, like my favorite movies. So, my number one favorite movie would happen to be the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie that just came out late last year. Because, I mean, you can't go wrong with Sonic. Because Sonic the Hedgehog, I believe, when I saw the film late last year, man, I was amazed how it turned out. And no, I'm not going to be spoiling what happened if anybody has not seen the film. But basically, I believe that Sonic the Hedgehog will always be my number one favorite film because, man, it was amazing. I'll just never forget about it. But, anyways, does anyone have any more questions? Now, those two are very good questions. I agree with you there, GGP. That will be something, I'll tell you that much. And yes, I like Iron Man because basically Iron Man, I believe, was a great film when it came out. The very first one I saw as a kid, which I'll never forget. Now, that's a very good question. Now, what I have been doing, besides YouTube at times when taking a break, I mean, I'm either just kicking back and relaxing, or I might be just walking my dogs as always, like my, my little cutie pies. Speaking of which, I better get them right now. Sweeto, come here. Come here. Sometimes I'll be walking this little cutie pie, this little bundle of joy, because it's usually my daily routine every morning, afternoon, and at night. Because these two, she needs a little walk along with her cousin Princess and my grandfather and grandmother's dog Bella, but she's already getting big thus far. But as you can tell here, this little bundle of joy needs a walk once in a while. But on the other hand, though, go on ahead, Sweeto. Go get him, Sweeto. Go get him. Sorry about that, but basically, also on the other hand, though, is sometimes I would try to get a hard workout, but sometimes I keep forgetting. And that's part of my daily routine. But expect the unexpected. But anyways, on the other hand, does anyone have any more questions? Oh boy, here we go again. More crickets. Oh, no kidding. Oh my goodness. Oh no, that's a very good question. Basically, I have a brother and a sister. My brother's already like around 23 years old, about to be 24 coming up in December. And I have a baby sister, lives in Arizona with my mom, and I have a lot of cousins, but if you can count that for siblings, but expect the unexpected. So basically, I have two siblings. Uh, One brother who's already 23 years old, about to be 24 coming up in December, and a baby sister. I believe that, on the other hand, she's just a bit of a crazy butt sometimes. That's my sister for you. She just, man, she just loves it. She is just, what I'm trying to get at is, oh, well, basically, my baby sister is a bit of hyperactive, but she just loves her toys and she just loves her mom more than anything. Now, those are two very good questions. Well, how do I feel about WWE 2K22 coming out in March next year? Well, that I am very excited for because we've waited a long time for another WWE 2K game because I would love more than anything to add that to my collection of WWE 2K games I have thus far in my collection. Maybe I'm hoping I can get them signed if I'm ever that lucky, but expect the unexpected. And everyone knows this, that my favorite car, if it's from the movies, if it counts, but out of all the cars, a lowrider is one of my favorites, but my number one favorite would happen to be from the movies, the DeLorean. Because that is one of my all-time favorite movie cars ever since, but it's been like my favorite car ever since. But ever since then, it has. Well, actually, that question is very good, but before I answer that, as I was saying though, The DeLorean is one of my all-time favorite movie cars ever since as a kid growing up after seeing it go through time travel, but I believe it went amazing. Well, I am, to be honest though, I'm in an apartment complex, but I can't tell which one it is, so I'd say I'm a little far from the casinos. But basically, knowing Vegas, expect the unexpected. But who knows what could happen? Knowing it is Vegas after all. Sorry, let me clear my throat. Knowing it is Vegas after all, expect the unexpected. Okay, we are down to four more questions. If anyone has four more questions for me, feel free to leave me a question. Oh my goodness, who knows what could happen? But since it is Las Vegas, expect the unexpected when it comes to legends coming to town. And some I've already met in Vegas. And oh boy. More and more crickets. We are down to four more questions on the chat. If anyone wants to leave me a question, go ahead and feel free to leave me a question on the chat. But basically, now that's a very good question there, GGP. Yeah. Uh, Android, sorry if I didn't pronounce the first name. And with them returning in Spider-Man MCU, I think that would be very awesome to see. But Tobey Maguire, I think, was one of the best Spider-Men in the history of movies. But I just really would love to see him return to the big screen once again. And that right there is a very good question. Yes, I've always attended every wrestling event live in person in one of the arenas at times. But when I was a part of organizations like FSW and BVW, I attended their shows in their arenas. But man, they were amazing. But expect the unexpected because in the arenas, it led to where some of the most hardcore matches and amazing matches you'll ever see in a wrestling match. And last month in August, everyone knows this, I attended SummerSlam. That was at the Raiders Stadium. But expect the unexpected when it comes to wrestling events that I've been to at times. And I was at SmackDown years ago in 2019 when the draft picks began in the middle of October. Oh boy. Now that's a good question. Aliens. Now, I've seen too many alien movies to know that, and I've seen too much episodes of X Files. I just don't know. I honestly don't know. So, oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, Stan Lee was one of the all-time greats to have ever created one of the most amazing comic books in Marvel's history, including none other than making so many cameo appearances in the real-life movies. But Stan Lee, on the other hand, would also appear in cartoons. Last I checked. And I don't want to mention where he appeared in the Teen Titans Go movie. I was like, are you kidding me? Why did he show up in that one? I mean, I was not a fan of Teen Titans Go whatsoever. I'm better off with the real Teen Titans. Just, my goodness, what more can happen? But after hearing the news about Stan Lee's passing, I mean, it just broke my heart. I mean, Stan Lee was one of the all-time greats of creating one of the most greatest superheroes of all time in Marvel's history. But he'll forever be known as one of the all-time greats in the history of comic books and cartoons and Marvel characters of all time. And I just can't get over one of his lines that he always said was Excelsior. And one of the Hey, Ayuka, hey, glad you can make it. I mean, it's just a lot going on these days, but expect the unexpected when it comes to Stan Lee and one of the all-time greats of all time in the comics. And Ayuka, my goodness. I mean, this live stream is still going on. I can answer a few more questions if you guys want to see me answer a few more questions. You guys got any questions for me? Go ahead and leave it on the chat, and I'll be glad to answer them. Nope. Yuka. That's a good question. That's a good one there, GP. That's actually a good one. Well, the weather in Vegas is a lot more warmer these days, but eventually things are cooling off. Yuka, thanks for that. That's a very good question. Shawnick, on the other hand, I believe how I feel about him is that Shawnick is one of the all-time greats in the history of projects. I mean, when it came down to McInerney 76's channel, which is David, and Gene Diddy 76's channel, which is Gene, basically they have added Shawnick to their videos all the time. But Shawnick is one of the all-time greats, which gave a little inspiration for when it came down to gadgets. But one of my favorite gadgets that Shawnick's ever done was the Lego Wiser, which turned everything into Lego, including themselves. But it would be awesome to see a Shawnick Lego figure in real life one of these days, because that would be nice. So, does anyone have any more questions? Oh, boy. Here come the crickets. Ah, crickets. Crickets and more crickets. Yuka. Oh my god, man. Jeffrey. Oh, actually, it's a giraffe, but a giraffe, I mean, do I really have to answer that one? Yuka, my goodness, man. But oh my goodness, I feel like Jack Skeleton from Jeffrey. Oh shoot, Jeffrey the skunk. Oh man, how could I forget? Sorry if I misread that, Yuka, but Jeffrey the skunk. How I feel about him? I mean, basically. Jeffrey the Skunk, I feel like, after hearing about his tragic story or anything else he's been through, I believe that Jeffrey the Skunk is one of the all-time great characters ever created. But I would love just for him to be seen in an animation episode or anything like that. But it would be nice to see him in projects one of these days. That's a very good question there, GGP. Yeah. I see. Not basically, GGP. That's a very good question there. I mean, Cammy White versus you would be amazing. Because in London, England next year, I decided to make it officialized. Cammy White versus GGP Hart in the Ultimate Dream match next year in London Stadium. Well, that's a very good question. It'd be a little cold in Vegas, but eventually it'll get warmer. But actually, it's a lot colder when there's snow in the mountains. That's a very good question there. Thank you. Of course, Ayuka, he was a lost character in the Archie comics, but I don't think he'll be lost anymore as far as we know. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but anyways, basically we are down to that's a very good question, GGP. I don't know anything about that yet, but if it were to come to that, I'd let you know. But anyways, yeah, thanks, Sega. Thank you. But anyways, we are down to a few more questions. If anyone has any more questions for me, feel free to leave it on the chat. I'll be sure to answer them. And basically, this is still part of 9/11 weekend, so it is what it is. So this is the final Q&A. If you guys want to leave me questions still, feel free to leave me a question on the chat, and I'll be sure to answer them. But basically, speaking of which, on GWE, I mean, things are going to be amazing, and I don't want to spoil that, so. Now, that's a very good question. I think the title reign has been going far too long. And basically, for more than anything in between, I think that title reign has been going on since I believe the GWE Royal Rumble, and it's been going on longer than anyone could expect. It. I think that's amazing there, GHP. Thanks for that question, but well, 412 Sonic feels happy about his 19 bro, but basically, I believe that it would still be awesome one of these days if 412 Sonic and 19 Sonic really got together in a project, but that would still take time. But anyways, I believe he feels happy about his 19 brother, which is 19 Sonic. And yet, for what I do know, things have gotten really amazing thus far on the Q&A. And thus far, though, right now we're down to 3 more questions. Does anyone have 3 more questions for me? Because I would love to answer these questions. Oh yeah, that is true. It is still planned out for that, but we're not going to spoil anything. But now, yeah, those are two great, more valuable questions. I did see CM Punk in AEW debut. I was shocked and stunned. I was like, what's he doing in AEW? And I knew it was his home state. I mean, I thought he was going to return to a WWE ring, but I guess not. But that was his choice, not mine to make. But I was stunned, and I think my jaws just dropped. And again, it just did. All too true, Yuka. All too true. Sorry about that. Basically, when CM Punk made it to AEW, it just got so hard for myself seeing that. But I was like, man, I just can't believe it. And that's a very good question. Xbox or PlayStation, which is your favorite? Well, as a kid, I remember playing the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and I did play PlayStation 3 at times. But I never got a chance to play the PS4. But throughout my childhood youth, I did play GameCube, I did play the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, and the N64 at the time. Yeah, that is too true, GHP. That is too true. But as a child growing up, I even played the original Xbox system, even to the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. So I'm gonna have to go with the Xbox on this one because it's one of my favorite consoles that I have right now in my collection. And needless to say, I got the Xbox One on my 21st birthday at the time. But during that time period, I even played a lot of great games. But expect the unexpected. And did he? Where? I don't see him anywhere. Oh well. But basically, I had to agree with you on that one, GGPs. But all of the WWE superstars goes to AEW. They made a decision to begin with. I mean, it's their choice, not mine to make. But anyways, we're down to our one and final question. Does anyone have one more question for me before we end off the live stream today? Ah! Really, Ayuka? Oh, man. Like I said, we are down to one more and final question. Does anyone have one more question for me before we end off the stream, knowing that things have already gotten amazing on part 2, knowing that there were some questions in part 1. But I want to thank everyone so much for leaving all the questions. I mean, that means a lot to me right now. Thank you. How does everyone feel about the 19 crew? Oh, hey, what's up, Jordan? Glad you can make it. Well, how do I feel about the 19 crew? I gotta say, though, that the 19 crew is amazing, and I just can't wait. And something tells me, though, it's gonna be amazing coming up. Okay, here's another question I can answer. That's a very good question there, GGP. The answer to that is yes. If The Undertaker gets himself injured at Survivor Series, Superhero Showdown, Cool 412 would love more than anything to do whatever it takes to become the next GWE champion. And that would be a dream come true for me if that were to happen. That's a very good question right there. Thank you for that, man. All right. On the other hand, though, I just want to say though that I want to thank everyone for coming and answering this, for everyone leaving me questions. That really means a lot to me right now. Thank you. And something tells me though, this live stream was amazing, and I want to thank everybody so much for coming to the chat and leaving me questions. And that really, really feels amazing to me. Well, I can answer this one more question. Well, my favorite superhero. That's a very good question. I mean, there's Batman, there's Spider-Man, there's other heroes that I know about, but man, this is a tough one. Oh boy, this is a tough question. I know that there's video game characters that are superheroes like Sonic and Mario, but my favorite superhero, I mean, man, this is a tough one. Well, for one of my favorite superheroes, I'm going to have to go with the web slinger himself, Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man, I believe, really has done it all in the world of superheroes. He's even teamed up with a lot of different heroes at the time. But the whole story, our deal with the Black Cat and Mary Jane, I mean, formerly known as MJ, but man, there's just so much I've seen from Spider-Man cartoons. I mean, the one from 1994 really told the story with Black Cat showing up to Mary Jane Watson showing up. But in the process, I think it was amazing. So I'm going to have to go with Spider-Man on this one because I've seen Spider-Man teamed up with other superheroes like the Daredevil to other heroes. But seeing the Punisher show up on numerous occasions, hey, Sonic Ranger, Sonic Gamer 123, what's up, man? Glad you can make it. As I was saying, though, seeing some other random Marvel superheroes show up in the process, I mean, Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes, but the Punisher is one of my other favorites because yes, of course he is. But basically, the Punisher, on the other hand, man, he's one tough son of a gun. He's one of my other favorites, but my number one favorite is Spider-Man. But when he teamed up with the Black Cat on numerous occasions, just, man, I would love to see that in a match. Okay. No, there was no screw job in Canada at all when that happened. I mean, GGP Hart really nailed the sharpshooter on Ayani, and she did tap out in the process. I saw it with my own two eyes. She never got screwed, to be honest. And I don't want to sound like Vince McMahon where it all started years ago, but oh my God. Ayuka, come out of that box. My God, man. Ayuka, come out of that box, or I'm going to get Jean in the chat and she'll burn it. Okay. But my point is, there was no screw job at all in Canada. I believe GGP Hart won the title fair and square during that time. And Ayuka, if I don't see you out of that box at the end of this stream, Jean's gonna come in and she's gonna burn that box. Oh God. Marvel villain. More likely when she gets off work, Ayuka. My goodness. My favorite Marvel villain. Now, this is a tough one. I mean, there's so many Spider-Man villains I've always seen all the time, including Punisher's villains. None of them were my favorite at the time, but I'm going to be the first to admit Kingpin was one of them. But after seeing his tragic story, what he had to go through, but I don't want to talk about it, not in front of Ayuka. But Kingpin was obviously a good choice for me. But Kingpin, I think, was nothing but a dangerous scumbag, in my opinion. Huh? Get him out of the box, Ranger. Do what you gotta do. But basically, though, uh-oh. But anyways, though, on the other hand, before I end the stream, and that's all the questions I can answer for today, I want to thank everybody so much for leaving me questions. So basically, before I end the stream, I want to leave an update. And oh god, Sonic the Hedgehog movie reference. So, what I'm trying to get at is basically, does Really Ranger a Sonic the Hedgehog movie reference? Just, my goodness. What I'm trying to get at, basically, knowing that before I end the stream, I have an update to make, because basically, Dimensional.exe Part 2 is still in productions. Anytime, GHP, anytime. So anyways, Dimensional.exe Part 2 is still in production, along with Old Friends Reunions 2 is still in productions, but it's going to take time, and so is the other part. But I don't want to leave out any spoilers what happens in the projects, so neither does anyone else right now. So basically, I want to thank everyone for coming to the chat. And I want to thank everybody so much. Oh, get him out of the box, Ranger. Give him some cookies if you have to. But anyways, I want everyone to stay tuned on this channel, because at least he's out of the box. Sorry if I do this, Ayuka, but Pickle Rick! But anyways, I want everyone to stay tuned on the channel, because there's going to be a trailer for what I got planned for the channel, and I don't want to let everyone know what that is. It'll spoil the surprise. But anyways, I want to thank everyone so much for coming to the chat. This really means a lot, answering questions. And that really means a lot to me. So I want to thank everyone so much for coming. And yes, see you later. Thank you for coming. Thank you. So anyways, I got to say, though, this was an amazing Q&A, and I want to thank everyone so much for leaving so many questions. They were amazing questions to answer, and I think, thank you. And I think that it was amazing. Thanks for that, Ranger. I'll be more than glad to stay safe. You too, man. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for the live stream of A Day We Can Never Forget Part 2. This was the final Q&A live stream. If you guys want me to do another live stream, feel free to let me know in the chat or in the comment down in the area below. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. And guys, remember, if you guys want to send me fan mail, look me up on Google Hangouts, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger. Just so that way we can sort everything out. But I don't want anyone leaving addresses or anything in the chat or in the comments, because then that would be a bit of a problem, because that's the only rules I have for my channel. If you guys want to send me fan mail, only look me up on Google Hangouts, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger, just so that way we can sort everything out from there. And I want to thank you all so much for coming to the chat. This was amazing, and I want to thank everyone so much for the support. And Ayuka's right. Watch out for a sneak peek of the first episode of the Ayuka and Tail series coming out. But something tells me it's going to be amazing. I just can't wait for that. And I want to thank you all so much for watching. And before I forget, if you guys want a t-shirt, be sure to check out Store Frontier, where you can get yourself a 412 and Sonic t-shirt, a TNW t-shirt, ACW, the HWF, and a cool 412 t-shirt like you saw in GWE. Or, if you want to feel safe out there, get yourself a cool 412 face mask, and sooner or later there might be a 412 and Sonic face mask in development. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to tell Big Boy Lance Smith and my good friends Noah Anderson, Gene Diddy 76, Mac and Ernie 76, Sonic 289 555, Ayuka and Tails 19, who is on the chat right now, Karen Angel 46, Noah Anderson, and of course my good friends that's in the wrestling world today on Impact Wrestling, the man, a new member of the Bullet Club, Chris Bay, and my good friend who's already on Monday Night Raw now and then, Karrion Kross, formerly known as Killer Kross. I said, "What's up?"